Alright guys, so E3's been great for anyone that lives in Australia because we've had to get up at all times of the night. I watched again live at 3 AM. I've had like an hour and a half sleep or something. Feeling pretty wrecked, but we're here to talk about what happened in the Nintendo E3 2021. All the stuff that we're excited about, all the stuff that we think is a bit of a miss, or a hit and miss, that's for sure.
There are a couple.
There are certainly a couple. All this and more after. Alright, so thank you, Alec, for assisting me in the drop once more.
I just sort of leave it to the professional.
Thank you, I appreciate that. So look, there's a lot that there's a lot that was shown in 40 minutes in terms of a lot of smaller things to be excited about, a lot of niche products that a lot of people would be really excited about because they like that particular game, but we're going to focus on the major things. The things that, you know, most people would be either aware of or would, you know, at least the things that were the talking points of the Switch conference of 2021. First things first, that's Switch Pro.
Well, I think firstly, did you think it was a good show?
Look, I thought I've pretty much watched them all of them now. This whole entire E3. I think that this was a fine conference. I think it was probably one of the stronger ones. It's like I watched it at 3 AM with a mate of mine over text. We were like texting the entire time, and at the end of it, he was like, "This is so disappointing. I can't believe how they've snubbed the 35th anniversary of Zelda, all this Switch Pro hype that they didn't really deliver on," and he was really annoyed. But I was still like, this is a perfectly fine conference. It didn't have a lot of stuff that I would have liked to see, but still it was okay. What about you?
I really liked it. It just sort of gave me games that I want. Metroid Prime is my favorite game ever. It's my number one game of all time. To have a new Metroid game after 19 years, a new original 2D Metroid game.
Off the back of a game that we've loved, which is Fusion, which is fantastic.
I'm so excited.
I just think that's one I loved that game, man.
So excited.
I agree. When I saw that, I knew you were sleeping, but when I saw that, I was like, okay, Alec's gonna love that, and there's gonna be so many people that love that.
I thought we were only gonna maybe get Metroid Prime 4, but for them to say, look, we're still working on Metroid Prime 4, but we've got another Metroid game in the works, and it's coming out this year, that alone is a showstopper for me. But more than that, I've been wanting to play Danganronpa for years. I had a Vita back in the day. I just never pulled the trigger on it. Now I can play all three of them. I wanted to, you know, Breath of the Wild 2, I think looks incredible.
I think it looks great. I mean, the only thing is, I mean, I feel like 2 years later now, we're still getting very, you know, snapshots of what the world is, and that's kind of it. And that's okay, but that really indicates to me that we're at least a year off here.
Well, they said 2022.
I know that, but I wonder if it's going to be pushed back, or if in fact it is going to be delivered. I mean, I just hope it doesn't fall into the Metroid 4 camp, you know?
It's just what I kind of wanted to see, because I think that version of Hyrule in Breath of the Wild has so much character. It is, you know, people have said it's like it's the main character of Breath of the Wild. Yeah. Hyrule is sort of everything. I was really worried they were going to do something to change Hyrule, give you a new setting. The fact that they're keeping Hyrule as it was, or it seems to be that
aesthetically, it looks
like
the same.
I saw the dueling peaks in the background. I saw all these different topographical sort of landmarks. I played a lot of Breath of the Wild. The fact that we're keeping that and then we're just going into the sky like Bespin style it's a good indication for me.
Yeah, I think, you know, they have a winning product with of course, Breath of the Wild. Some would say that it's kind of like their favorite or one of the greatest Zeldas ever made. So, like, if they can just layer to that, you know, like they just put an extra layer on top of that physically in terms of the landforms and kind of make it interesting that way and add to the story, like, a lot of people are going to love that. So
I just hope it doesn't feel like a DLC, but I trust Nintendo to not do that, but who knows?
Who knows? But I don't think so, but we will have to see. But in regards to that, that was the closing moment of the show. I would have been happy for the Metroid to be the closing moment of the show. Do you know what I mean?
Dread.
Yeah, like, it was kind of so weird and such a great surprise to see. And I personally haven't fully experienced Metroids in the 3D. I've played a little bit of it, but I've gone and played Fusion a couple of times. Like, I love that 2D way of playing Metroid. So I'm super excited. I know we've already talked about that, but in terms of the showstopper, it's kind of competing there. I'm not sure which one I kind of liked more.
Well, it would have been. Oh, it would have to be the Game Watch.
Well, yes.
It has to
the
be
Switch Pro. Now, we understand why this was. Look, I mean, all jokes aside, some people are going to be like, "Well, that's why we were seeing all these listings on Amazon." No, that possibly can't be. We saw some pretty clear indications from pretty big distribution centers for games, like Amazon. I think it was Amazon. There's a few places, right, that had new Switch Pro or the new Nintendo Switch, and that was quickly taken down. There was so much hype around a new console, and they give us this 8-bit machine. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm not excited for that.
Instead of
I
the
can
Switch,
do that on my phone, number one, and number two, on the Switch already has some of those games.
instead of the Switch Pro, they gave us the Switch Con.
Nice, man.
So
yeah, but like, when you saw that, were you excited?
the Game Watch,
Yeah.
I couldn't give a shit.
Most people can't give a shit, man.
It's not for me. It's for some people. They like collecting that kind of shit.
Yeah.
And it's for the same reason that the SNES Mini wasn't really for me. Like, we've got one. I don't.
I know.
Use
I thought I was gonna play
Like,
that shit. I played it for
It's
like
just not
2
for me.
seconds.
That kind of like, it almost
it feels like
unashamedly is tapping into your nostalgia to kind of get some cash out of you.
Yeah.
It's not for me. Like, I'm happy to look the other way, and other people can go silly over it. Not for me.
Yeah, I think that it was a miss.
Do you think that they have to the point of Joel, mate? Do you think they've done a service to the legacy of Zelda for its 35th anniversary?
Look,
Now, what I'd say is 35 is not a particularly important milestone in terms of ages, but the way they treated Mario for a 35th anniversary, people are expecting similar treatment for Zelda.
It is an important milestone when you make another game's milestone of 35 years important. I think that if you were really to tally up what are the major... Look, there's a lot of IP, right? I understand that. But, like, I would have expected by now that we are seeing a lot more to celebrate how much that IP has brought Nintendo. And secondly, I think that we have a little bit more time in this year, so we could see a lot more. I hope we do see a lot more, but we've already seen Skyward Sword coming out in July or something like that. After the dust settles... After that game comes out, I'm expecting something. Maybe that coincides with them wanting to also announce the new Switch Pro. They'll do some special announcement for the 35th anniversary, and it'll all tie in nicely with also maybe announcing a new Switch Pro. But I have been disappointed to see the moment they addressed Zelda this year in terms of looking back and celebrating the previous titles. It's been with one of the least favorite Zeldas from what you've said to me. I haven't played it, but from me looking online,
It's not a very good Zelda game.
It's not people's favorite Zelda. You know?
Yeah.
You?
I mean, like, it's weird because so recently across the Wii U, let's not maybe say recently, but we had remasters of Twilight Princess, we had a remaster of Wind Waker. I don't know, maybe they feel like they've already sold that to people and don't want to quite sell it again to them so soon.
And they've also done it with Ocarina of Time on the 3DS.
Yeah, but that was ages ago. That was a long time ago.
Sure, but I'm just saying,
And all I'm saying is that I want those two games available on the Switch. Wind Waker's unreal. Twilight Princess, I think, is very good. I enjoyed it, at least back then. People say it doesn't age very well, but anyway. I want to play those games again. I didn't particularly like Skyward Sword, but to have it available is great. What I'm saying is they should just make them all available. Like, I don't see it being too difficult for them to bring Wii U games to the Switch. I don't see it.
Yeah, I agree with you, but we can't pretend to understand the technical, like, why is something hard to move from one architecture to the other? But of course it's possible. It's for
They
me.
had Breath of the Wild and across the Switch and the Wii.
It sounds like what they're probably looking to do is they know they have a decent life cycle left in the Switch, and they just want to space this shit out, because it's pretty certain that the precedent's been set with other console generations that the Pro model of Xbox, which was like the Xbox X, or Xbox One X, God, that's freaking confusing, of course, and the PlayStation 4 Pro, that still all play the same games. So I'm guessing the Switch Pro is also going to play all the games that the Switch does. So what I'm going is, they probably have a couple of more years up their sleeve for them to want to space out some of the most beloved games that we have on Nintendo, you know? So
Yeah.
I think that's probably something to look out for. If there's nothing else drops on the 35th anniversary of Zelda, it will be disappointing, and I think it'll be Nintendo misreading the room in terms of how much people love Zelda and how much they really should have delivered some really cool stuff this year to celebrate how much that IP's done for Nintendo. On a side note, we've also seen the new Switch character, Tekken, baby!
The Switch character.
Sorry, what did I say? Switch character. Now and a half sleep, baby! Okay.
Yeah, Kazuya's in Smash. That's I'm actually very excited for that. I play a lot of Smash.
We haven't played Smash in a while.
We haven't, but I've got probably across all the Smashes, I'd have over 5,000 hours minimum.
Oh, I've got four. I think I've got 4,000 or 5,000 games on my Switch alone.
Yeah.
And I only started playing 2 years ago.
Yeah.
We play a lot of Smash. We certainly enjoy it.
I think Kazuya's a great character for it. I'm quite excited for Banjo and Kazooie. I think he makes a lot of sense in the context of the game. We've already got Street Fighter characters in Ryu and Ken. We've got Terry. Tekken's obviously very big. It's a much adored fighting game. I think to have the sort of poster child, he's kind of the Ryu of Tekken.
Yeah.
I think makes sense, and his moveset looks cool. So I'm excited by that.
Yeah, look,
another reason I like the show. It just sort of kind of spoke to me the whole show.
I saw that and I was not disappointed, but like it's not a character that resonates with me. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, okay, cool. Is that the last fighter pass? Is there one more? I'm not even sure now.
There's one more.
I think there's one more, right?
Yeah.
But look, it's not something that I absolutely love. But I think there's a lot of Tekken fans out there that just love that they are seeing Tekken in Smash. Yeah. But look, general thoughts. I feel like this is a fine, perfectly cromulent showcase. I find that it's, for me, lacked a bit of oomph at the. I can't put my finger on it. I was wanting more. I think that was so much hype around a console, and then for them to not even acknowledge it, I was kind of disappointed with that. And on top of that, to not see a 35th anniversary of Zelda, at least something, even though they may be holding out for September like they did with Mario, I still feel like I would have wanted more from this show. But you love this show.
I wouldn't say I loved it. It spoke to me. Like, I think it was exactly what I would want out of a Nintendo Direct. We got Breath of the Wild 2 confirmation that it's out next year, and it answered a few of the questions that I had about its setting, so it works for me. Kazuya in Smash is great. I like that. I love Smash. I play a lot of Smash. He's being announced. He's at the Sakurai's doing the gameplay dive in the 29th of June, so we'll probably get it a week later. So I'm gonna get to play that in 3 weeks. Metroid Dread. I'm so excited.
Yeah,
I cannot wait.
Me too.
I cannot wait. Metroid is my favorite.
I'm more excited for that more than Breath of the Wild 2, if I'm being honest.
Well, yeah, sure. I'd probably agree with you. Metroid Dread and Metroid Prime 4 on the horizon is just so much Metroid. And I really hope Metroid does well, because Metroid's never been a commercial success for Nintendo. And that's why we really haven't seen that many over all these years.
It's been 19 years, as you probably saw.
For 2D, yeah. But if these can actually move numbers, if these can sell, and Metroid comes back into the forefront of Nintendo's giving a shit radar, I'll be so happy. You know, what else do we have? We got Shin Megami Tensei 5, which I really want to play. I love Persona, but I've never played the actual core Shin Megami Tensei games. That's out this year. It's Switch exclusive. And the thing I really liked about the show is it was quick. They announced heaps of shit. Some of it I wasn't that interested in. A lot of it I was interested in, and it all had dates, except for Breath of the Wild.
One thing to mention,
it was all like, this is going to be out November 12th. This is going to be out on October 10th. It was all like, here's what we've got. This is when it's happening. We're talking about the now. You know, when you've got Xbox, like, I think Xbox had a great show, but Starfield's like long. Oh no, they give a date. Sorry, they gave a date. 11/11/22. I take that back. Redfall, stuff like that, where they announce these projects and like we're not going to say when it's coming out, and it's also, if it is coming out, it's a really long way away. a lot of Nintendo stuff is like, we're addressing sort of what's going to happen in the next 3 to 6 months. Here it is.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it.
I like it. I think it was cool. I think also, which is also interesting, that Jeff Keighley pointed out that the Japanese show and the English show was 2 different presentations in terms of they were showing games on the Japanese Nintendo Direct that was different to the one that
makes
we
so
saw,
much sense.
Which makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And
They're
I
just like 2 different worlds, basically.
kind of,
when
right?
it comes to video games.
And I think that, so look, just to wrap it up, I think not only was it a decent showcase, but I think it was a very thought out and thoughtful showcase if it was also trying to separate the Western market also. Because, I mean, naturally they want to show as much as they can, but they know a lot of the Western market doesn't want to see certain types of IP because we're just not interested in it, right? Yeah. But all in all, it was okay. The Bandai Namco, as we record this, is happening in 4 minutes. If there's anything really worth covering, we're probably going to do that. Otherwise, it may be the end of our E3 coverage.
I hope there's more Elden Ring.
And maybe there's going to be more Elden Ring. But if not, we might do a wrap-up video maybe in the next day of like what we thought of the total E3 in general.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty cool video to do. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Love you, appreciate you. We'll see you guys next time. Laymen out.